Vikings conquered oceans, raided kingdoms, and sailed further than anyone thought possible. But there's one question the history books never really answer. How on earth did they go to the bathroom for weeks? On an open boat, no doors, no walls, zero privacy whatsoever. Let's figure this out. Fair warning, it's worse than you think. A Viking longship was basically one long, narrow wooden boat packed with warriors. No cabins, no bedrooms. You slept, ate, and did everything else right there on deck. Trips could last for weeks, sometimes months, with no land in sight. And with 50 sweaty, salty guys crammed onto a 100-foot boat, eventually everyone had to ask themselves the same question. Where exactly am I supposed to do this? Historians actually found the answer, and it's both genius and horrifying. The solution was literally called the lensing board, a little plank sticking out the back of the ship with a hole cut in it. Yep, you sat there, over open water, while the ship kept moving, and everyone in line behind you saw exactly what you were doing. Progress? Sure. Privacy? Absolutely not. So why the back of the ship and not the front? Simple physics. Wind and waves push the boat forward. Everything else drifts backward. Sit in the wrong spot, and the whole crew finds out immediately. This was actually a serious rule on board. Get it wrong, and it could start a fight. You do not mess with a Viking who just caught a face full of wind. But what if someone just needed to go, like right now? Then you grabbed a rope, leaned over the side, and hoped for the best. Honestly, this was the most common method. The fancy plank was a luxury, not a given. A lot of ships simply didn't have room for anything that fancy. You did your business, held on tight, and prayed the wave didn't take you with it. And at night, in a storm, with 10-foot waves, yep, still happened. There was no wait till it calms down. Your body does not care that the North Sea is angry tonight. Multiple sources actually suggest this was one of the most dangerous jobs on board. More than one unlucky sailor reportedly lost his grip at the worst possible moment. For the truly lucky ones, the bucket method. One shared wooden bucket, used by everyone, dumped overboard regularly. Practical? Sure. Popular? Absolutely not. Nobody wanted to be the one emptying it. Historians think that job usually went to the youngest or lowest ranked guy on board. In other words, the worst first job in Viking history. Now for the truly uncomfortable question. What did they wipe with? Toilet paper obviously didn't exist yet. So what was the backup plan? Historians point to a few options. Moss, wool, grass, even old rags. Moss was actually surprisingly popular. Soft, absorbent, and everywhere along the coast. Yeah, going for a walk in the moss suddenly means something very different. Hygiene on board was, let's say, a bit of a challenge. No soap like we know it today, but they actually used a kind of ash-based mix to wash their hands. Archaeologists have found combs and tweezers on Viking ships. So no, they weren't as filthy as the movies like to pretend, just resourceful. Personal grooming was actually a big deal in Norse culture, toilet situation aside. So what happened when someone got really, really seasick with a flat-bottomed ship bouncing over every wave? The answer was, eventually, everyone. Even the toughest warriors could turn green after a few days in a storm. And guess where it ended up? Right next to everything else. A ship full of seasick, unwashed warriors for 3 weeks straight. Use your imagination. The captain actually had a perk here. A better spot. Further back. More shielded. Rank had its privileges, even when it came to this. The lowest ranked guys on board mostly just had to wait their turn or take whatever spot was left. So next time you're annoyed about a line for a public bathroom, think about the Vikings. Were there ever conflicts about this on board? Oh, absolutely. The sagas actually mention arguments between crew about whose turn it was. And yes, there's at least one saga reference to someone forgetting to give a warning first. Not exactly the friendship you want to patch up the next morning. What about the women and kids who sometimes came along on longer voyages? Historians think they got a bit more coverage, maybe behind a sail or an animal hide. But basically, same process, just with a little more effort at privacy. Viking society was practical like that. Everyone just had to deal with it. So why didn't they just build something smarter, like an actual enclosed toilet box? Simple, weight and space. Every pound on board mattered for speed and cargo. A ship stuffed with stolen gold didn't have room for a luxury outhouse. Their priorities were crystal clear, treasure over comfort every single time. Interestingly, archaeologists have found similar plank designs on ships as late as the 1800s. So this solution the Vikings came up with stuck around for almost 1,000 years, not because it was good, just because nobody figured out anything better before modern plumbing. So next time you see a Viking movie with epic warriors and dramatic music, remember that same warrior probably sat on a wooden plank over the North Sea the day before. History rarely mentions the swords. It almost never mentions this. And honestly, that might be the most honest version of Viking life we can tell you. So, quick recap. 0 privacy, 1 shared bucket, moss as toilet paper, and a little wooden plank over open water in a storm with the whole crew watching. Vikings conquered Europe, but they definitely lost the battle for bathroom dignity. And somehow they still sailed on, still raided, and still became legends anyway. If this made you laugh or made you appreciate modern toilets just a little more, hit like and subscribe for more weird, true history facts like this one. Because history is full of details school never bothered to teach you. See you in the next one. Except Sven. He still needs that plank.